My name is Emily, and I had it all: a loving husband, a beautiful home, and plans for the rest of our lives. Tom and I were the epitome of a happy couple, or so I thought. We met in college, fell in love, and built a life together that seemed like a fairy tale. Our relationship was built on trust, respect, and shared dreams. We were each other's biggest supporters, always encouraging one another to pursue our passions and ambitions. We had our ups and downs, like any couple, but our love remained unwavering. Tom was the embodiment of the perfect husband. He was caring, attentive, and always made me feel like the most important person in his life. We enjoyed each other's company, spending lazy Sunday mornings cuddled up on the couch, talking about our hopes and dreams. We had plans, oh so many plans. We had dreamt of traveling the world together, exploring new places, and creating memories that would last a lifetime. We had talked about starting a family, imagining what our children would be like and how we would raise them. Our home was filled with laughter, love, and warmth. We created a space that reflected our personalities and our shared joys. We hosted dinner parties, inviting friends over for lively conversations and delicious meals. Our home was a sanctuary, a place where we could be ourselves and find solace in each other's arms. But as the months passed, I began to notice a subtle shift in Tom's behavior. He started coming home later than usual, with flimsy excuses of work deadlines and projects that needed his attention. I brushed it off initially, understanding that work can get demanding at times. But as the pattern continued, doubts started to creep into my mind. One evening, as we sat at the dinner table, I mustered the courage to address my concerns. "Tom, is everything all right? You've been coming home late so often lately. Is something going on at work?" Tom looked up from his plate, his eyes momentarily flickering with an emotion I couldn't quite place. "Oh, it's just a temporary phase. The company is going through some changes and I've been shouldering extra responsibilities. I promise it'll get better soon." I nodded, trying to reassure myself that his explanation made sense. "Okay, just remember to take care of yourself too. I worry about you, you know?" A faint smile crossed his lips as he reached across the table to hold my hand. "I appreciate your concern. You're always looking out for me. I promise things will go back to normal soon, and we'll have more time together." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to hold onto the image of our perfect life and dismiss my growing unease. But deep down, a sense of uneasiness lingered, and I couldn't shake off the feeling that there was more to his late nights at work than met the eye. Little did I know that this conversation was just the beginning of a journey that would test the limits of my trust and lead me down a path I never imagined I would tread. The days turned into weeks, and the weeks into months. As much as I tried to convince myself that everything was fine, the distance between Tom and me continued to grow. He would arrive home late, his exhaustion palpable, and our once vibrant conversations became mere snippets of small talk. One evening, as I prepared dinner in the kitchen, I couldn't help but confront the growing concern that had been gnawing at me for far too long. Tom walked in, his suit slightly rumpled and his eyes heavy with fatigue. I took a deep breath, gathering the courage to voice my worries. "Tom, we need to talk," I said, turning to face him, a hint of apprehension in my voice. He sighed and ran a hand through his hair. "I know. I've been meaning to talk to you too. It's just that work has been overwhelming lately. There's so much on my plate, and I'm trying my best to handle it all." I nodded, my heart sinking at his words. I understand that work can get demanding, but it feels like we've drifted apart. We used to be so connected, so in tune with each other. Lately, it feels like we're leading separate lives. Tom's gaze softened as he took a step closer to me. "I promise, Emily, it's just a phase. Once things settle down at work, we'll find our way back to each other. I love you, and I don't want to lose what we have." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust that this was just a temporary hurdle in our marriage. But doubts continued to linger, intensifying with each passing day. The late nights, the strained conversations, and the feeling of being kept at arm's length painted a picture I couldn't ignore. Days turned into weeks, and I found myself desperately seeking any opportunity to reconnect with Tom. I suggested date nights, weekend getaways, and even surprise gestures to show him how much I cared. But his responses were always lukewarm, and it became clear that something was amiss. One evening, as I sat alone in our living room, I glanced at the clock. It was past midnight, and Tom had yet to return. My worry transformed into a mix of frustration and sadness. I picked up my phone and dialed his number, hoping for some reassurance. The phone rang several times before he finally answered. "Hey, I'm sorry. I lost track of time. There's just so much going on here." My voice trembled with a mixture of concern and frustration. "Tom, this has been happening far too often. I need to know if something else is going on. Please just be honest with me." There was a brief pause on the other end of the line, and I held my breath, waiting for his response. Finally, his voice came through, tinged with a hint of guilt. "Emily, I swear there's nothing else. It's just work. I promise to make more time for us. Can you please trust me?" My heart ached, torn between wanting to believe him and the growing suspicion that there was more to the story. But for the sake of our marriage, I chose to hold on to hope and give him the benefit of the doubt. Little did I know that the mysterious phone call and the events that would follow would shatter the fragile trust I had clung to, unraveling the life we had built together. One evening, as I sat at home, anxiety mounting with each passing minute, my phone buzzed with an incoming call. The screen displayed an unknown number, and a mixture of curiosity and apprehension flooded my thoughts. With a racing heart, I answered the call. "Hello," I spoke, my voice laced with uncertainty. A deep, unfamiliar voice greeted me from the other end. "Is this Emily?" he asked. "Yes, it is," I replied, my curiosity piqued. "May I ask who's calling?" The voice paused for a moment before responding, his words laced with an intriguing mix of urgency and intrigue. "Emily, I have information about your husband. If you want to know where he is right now, meet me at a nearby cafe. We need to talk." My heart skipped a beat, a mixture of fear and anticipation coursing through me. "How do you know about my husband? Who are you?" I asked, my voice betraying a hint of unease. "I'll explain everything when we meet. But I assure you, this is important. If you want answers, come to the cafe. It's time you knew the truth," he said, his voice steady and determined. Caught between curiosity and a gnawing fear of the unknown, I made up my mind. "All right, I'll meet you. But please tell me who you are and why you're doing this," I requested, my voice trembling ever so slightly. The voice on the other end let out a sigh before responding. "My name is Mark. I have my reasons, but we'll discuss them in person. Meet me at Brewhaven Cafe in 30 minutes. I'll be waiting." The call ended, leaving me with a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions. Doubt, suspicion, and a flicker of hope mingled within me. With a mix of trepidation and determination, I grabbed my coat and keys, ready to confront the truth that lay ahead. Arriving at Brewhaven Cafe, I scanned the room, searching for a stranger who could potentially shatter the world I had known. My eyes fell upon a man, his face unfamiliar, but with a hint of familiarity in his gaze. I cautiously approached him, my voice trembling with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. "Mark?" I questioned, my voice barely above a whisper. He turned to face me, his expression serious yet compassionate. "Emily, I'm glad you came. Please have a seat." I took a deep breath, my eyes locked on his. "Mark, what is this all about? Why did you reach out to me?" Mark leaned forward, his voice lowered to a hushed tone. "Emily, I know about your husband's infidelity. I've been through it myself. I saw him with my own eyes, sitting in this very cafe with my wife. They're having an affair." My heart sank, a mix of disbelief and devastation washing over me. "No, that can't be true. Tom wouldn't do that to me," I protested, tears welling in my eyes. Mark's gaze softened, empathy evident in his voice. "I understand how difficult it is to accept, but I have proof, Emily. I saw them together, and I have evidence to back it up. I want to teach my wife a lesson, and I believe we can help each other." Torn between denial and a desire for the truth, I wiped away my tears and looked at Mark with a newfound determination. "Show me the proof. If what you're saying is true, then we need to confront them. They can't continue hurting us like this." Mark nodded, his resolve matching mine. I have photos, messages, and a plan. But first, we need to wait for them to leave the cafe. Once they do, we'll follow them and see where this affair leads us. And so, we sat together, strangers united by a shared pain, waiting for the unfaithful couple to make their move. Time seemed to crawl as we watched my once beloved husband and the woman who had entered our lives so clandestinely. It was a moment of truth, a turning point that would forever change the course of our lives. As Mark and I sat in the cafe, our eyes fixed on the unfaithful couple, time seemed to stretch endlessly. Every passing second felt like an eternity, the weight of anticipation heavy upon us. We exchanged glances, silently acknowledging the shared determination to confront our cheating spouses. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the couple stood up, their laughter echoing through the cafe. They hailed a taxi and disappeared into the city's bustling streets. Mark and I swiftly followed, our hearts pounding with a mix of anxiety and resolve. We trailed the taxi, keeping a safe distance as it weaved through traffic and eventually came to a halt in front of a hotel. Mark and I parked our car nearby, adrenaline coursing through our veins as we prepared to uncover the truth that had eluded us for far too long. Mark turned to me, his voice steady but laced with a mix of determination and caution. Emily, we need to be careful. Once they enter the hotel, we'll wait for a moment, then we'll go in too. My friend works at this hotel, and he has provided us with the room number. We'll catch them in the act. My breath caught in my throat as the gravity of the situation sank in. I nodded, my voice barely above a whisper. Okay, let's do this. I need to know the truth, no matter how painful it may be. The moment of truth had arrived. Mark and I had gathered sufficient evidence to expose the affair of our unfaithful spouses. It was time to confront them, to reveal the pain they had inflicted upon us and make them face the consequences of their actions. With determination etched on our faces, Mark and I stood outside the hotel room where our spouses were engaged in their secret tryst. The muffled sounds of laughter and intimacy emanated from behind the door, fueling our resolve. Mark turned to me, his voice a mix of determination and anticipation. Emily, this is it. We have the truth on our side. Are you ready to confront them? I took a deep breath, steadying myself. Yes, Mark, we've come this far. It's time to reveal their betrayal and let them experience they've caused. We approached the hotel room door, the anticipation mounting with every step. Mark's hand hovered near the door, his voice filled with determination. Once we open this door, there's no turning back. Are you sure you're ready for what lies beyond? I nodded, my voice resolute. I've never been more ready, Mark. Let's unveil their deceit and reclaim our dignity. With that, Mark knocked on the door, the sound echoing through the room. The noises inside ceased momentarily before the door swung open, revealing Mark's wife clad in a disheveled hotel robe, her eyes widening in shock. She stumbled backward, her voice trembling with guilt. Mark, what are you doing here? Mark's gaze remained steady, his voice laced with a mix of anger and disappointment. I should be asking you the same question. How could you do this to me, to us? I stepped forward, my voice filled with a blend of sorrow and resolve. And I should be asking you, Tom, how could you betray the love we shared? Tom's face paled, his voice faltering. Emily, it's not what you think. Mark's eyes narrowed, his voice cutting through the room. Save your excuses, Tom. We have undeniable proof of your affair. The game is over. As the weight of our words settled upon them, the truth of their actions became inescapable. Mark's wife's gaze darted towards my husband, who was sitting on the bathroom floor, clutching his stomach in pain. She rushed to his side, panic in her eyes. Mark, what happened to you? Are you okay? I couldn't bear to witness their turmoil any longer and made my way into the bathroom. There I saw my husband, vulnerable and suffering. The sight tore at my heart, a mixture of anger and compassion welling within me. Mark followed me, his voice filled with a mix of concern and frustration. Emily, are you all right? What's going on? Tears welled up in my eyes as I turned to him, my voice laced with pain. Mark, I can't bear to see him like this. Let's go, let's leave them to face the consequences of their actions. Mark nodded, understanding the weight of my emotions. You're right, Emily. Looks like my friends at the cafe overdosed on laxatives. He grinned. Together, Mark and I walked out of the hotel room, leaving behind the shattered illusions of our once perfect lives. We carried the pain of betrayal, but we also carried the strength and determination to rebuild. As we walked away, hand in hand, a glimmer of hope ignited within us. Revenge had been exacted, and although the scars remained, we were ready to heal and forge a new path, leaving the darkness of infidelity behind. The journey ahead would be challenging, but we were no longer defined by our spouse's betrayal. We were defined by our resilience, our capacity to overcome, and the unwavering belief in our own worth. And with that, we walked away, ready to face a future filled with the promise of healing, growth, and the discovery of a love that would never falter again.